pongiste professionnel, si tu t'entraînes pas entre 25 et 30 heures par semaine, t'as aucune chance d'avancer et d'évoluer. La répétition, ça use. C'est rare qu'on fasse une saison sans douleur et puis tous les impacts, toutes les torsions qu'on met.
Never have I ever seen a documentary about table tennis. And I am so glad I was treated to this because I think it really highlighted the intensity and having to stay in the zone. And they created that intensity right from the beginning with the close up action of seeing him there, fending off all of the ping pong balls or table tennis balls, I should say. And it changed from a sport I wouldn't automatically consider to be that intense to one through the slow motion capture and through the editing and the shots. It created a tone where it was extremely intense, and I could feel the adrenaline pumping. It's also really interesting how it was framed in not only the battle with the opponent, but also the battle within him and the battle with himself, his physical body, his mental state, trying to stay in the game even though he needed the surgery. And I think the final notes of his success after was a great full circle journey.
Without a doubt, the coolest shot was him diving to hit the ping pong ball and falling straight into the water. That was such a cool visual in transition of just him. It was very cool. And then I really enjoyed him seeing everything on the wall, the scans, the videos, just watching his life on the wall in red. It was such a stark contrast to him being in a hospital where it was very bright lighting. So it was just a very interesting transition to see. And then the ending where the ping pong ball is going behind the credits, that's just in the details. It keeps you interested even at the end. And that outro music also sounded very much like a video game. So seeing the ball go back and forth behind the credits with that music at the end, it kept you very much involved.
I feel like not a lot of people realize the level of athleticism and commitment and training that are required for lots of niche sports, in particular this type of sport, which sort of seems like the easier version of professional tennis. But I thought this documentary showed a lot how much a great player, a professional player, has to sacrifice to sort of participate at that level and to constantly perform at that level. And in general, the entire piece was shot very well, a very sleek design and construction that is typical for sports documentaries of this style. It felt very authentic, and the entire process felt very professional. And in the end, when you see how far his journey has gone to being someone that could barely move to being someone that returned to the heights of his profession and his sport within his country, it was a very fascinating and concise piece that I thought told a lot in a very short amount of time and was very impactful to somebody that doesn't really know a lot about the sport itself.
The whole documentary sure was about his struggle and like maintaining his standing as a athlete, as a tennis player. And I like how you got insights into some of the other players and his coach that helped him. And then but altogether it had a very nice frenetic energy to it because tennis is a very, energetic sport. So even though the short was like 5 minutes, it went along very quick. It felt like it was his own tennis match. It felt very frenetic and dynamic in its editing and pacing. And I liked that it was to the point of what the problem was with the player and what he was trying to do. And the end credits scene where you saw all the end credits of everybody that worked on the production was pretty cool. How they did the animations and the transitions too.
Kind of gave me an even more heightened respect for these athletes playing table tennis. I knew it got really competitive, but just learning about the stress he puts his body through, and having to have the prosthetic hip, I had no idea that the training was that rigorous. It's really remarkable, and it was inspiring to see him, go through this sort of transformation, I guess, make the comeback. It's a real classic sports story that way. It's told really well here. There's some great shots that are both cinematic, and others that are just really documentarian. Like, it's a good mix of that.
I think it really helped to showcase the real physicality that table tennis takes out on someone's body. I don't think people realize how much of a physical toll that table tennis can take if you are dedicated and amazing at the sport. I think this documentary does a really good job of utilizing red lighting when showing these close-up shots of his arms and how much effort he's taking with each shot of a table tennis ball. This red lighting sort of emulates what he says when he says that retraining after his hip surgery was like a descent into hell. I think this red light really helps with that narrative. And then when he's retraining and getting better and better and succeeding again after his surgery, we lose the red lighting and we have warmer tones and quote unquote normal lighting while he's finally back to his former glory.
When you watch this piece, you're like, well, of course it's as physically demanding as any professional sport when you see what they're having to do. Like there's a shot where we kind of in slow motion see his legs scraping the floor as or his feet scraping across the floor as he's, making a move. And you're like, oh my goodness, yes, the incredible stress that you're putting on your body is the same as the stress you'd be put on your body playing basketball or something, and, the cardio that you need to endure this, yeah. So it really made me think about the physicality of it more than I had thought about before. But it's a wonderful story. It's again, he's able to come back, that he's able to get this prosthesis, in his hip and his femur to be able to come back and play at a professional level again. How wonderful is that the science has progressed so that somebody in this physically demanding job is able to, has to lose the job, but then is able to come back after having an artificial implant in their hip. It's just amazing. So, wonderful film. It was wonderfully made and very concise and completely made sense. I understood everything about the story, and he did a wonderful job of telling his story.
Visuals were very nice. Lots of use of bold colors in different scenes that just gave the film a strong, I guess you would say, identity, as well as just a very clear aesthetic, a very clear mood and visual tone. The story of the film was also very easy to get behind. The main character, the main subject, is very easy to empathize with. You want to see this person succeed. You want to see how they overcome the difficulties that they're facing to continue doing the thing that not only they've spent their whole life pursuing and being passionate about, but also that caused the injury they're overcoming in the first place. So it's a pretty typical story, but it's still a good one, well portrayed.